Hello, good morning, afternoon, evening, or perhaps even good night, metalheads of the internet. How are you? I'm doing great. This is an interview I've been trying to put together for a while. This has been in the works for a while now, and I'm so pumped that I could finally get in touch with Chris, and I could finally share this with you, and we could finally get this done. Just a heads up, this is a phone interview, not the usual video interviews that we do on the Metal Meltdown, so there's no video component to this, but I mean, hey, you're here for the conversation to hear from me and Chris, so I can't picture that being a huge issue. One more thing, since this is probably going up on Halloween, happy Halloween. I hope you have a fantastic day.
Oh man, right on time.
Hell yeah, I'm a punctual motherfucker.
I see that. I admire that.
Hey, thank you for being here. My name is Robert Walton. Welcome officially to the Metal Meltdown.
I officially thank you so much. That's awesome.
And I just want to say, again, thank you for being here. Longtime fan of Autopsy. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
Hey, likewise, man, for sure. Looking forward to it.
I want to ask you about the new album right off the bat, Ashes, Organs, Blood, and Crypts. Just came out today. There have been some reviews out for the past week or so. The Metal Meltdown here, we put up our review on the past Monday. And I just want to ask, how do you feel about the response to the new album so far?
Man, I couldn't ask for better, to be honest with you. I mean, so far, we've been getting killer reactions. I maybe even so bold as to say better than last time, and last time was a shock to us. So we're just waiting for the wave of backlash to wash over us, and people tell us how much we suck and the album sucks. You know, it's coming still, but it hasn't shown itself yet. So I don't know what we've done wrong, but we seem to be going over like crazy so far. So yeah, man, I'm fucking stoked.
I mean, to be honest, I don't think I've seen even a single comment or a single blurb or anything that leans even towards lukewarm, let alone negative. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's the hope, you know. I mean, our job is just to do the thing and then kick it out into the world, and then it's out of our hands, you know. But so far, it's going over like crazy, so yay.
I've also spoken to a lot of people who seem a little shocked that Autopsy is back just over a year after Morbidity Triumphant. And I want to ask, what keeps you motivated and what makes you hungry to make music at this pace?
I really don't have an answer for you. I guess we must like it, you know. I mean, we're not getting rich and famous and winning, world acclaim or anything like that. It's just there's really no rational reason for doing it. Well, not only to begin with, but to be doing it still. There's definitely no reason for that. I don't know, man. I guess we must like doing it, you know. The thing is, we're not under any sort of contractual obligation whatsoever, which is cool, you know. That's one of the things we like about Peaceville, is we can just sort of like do things when we're ready, you know. If we're not ready, we're not going to do anything, you know. But like to see like this new album coming out, it's because we really, really wanted to make it happen. So yeah, I don't know, man. It was just like we felt like it was time to crank out another one. You know, there's no rhyme or reason really. So yeah, maybe it'll be 20 years till our next album, but probably not. I think we definitely want to do a new one next year.
I mean, I wouldn't be. I'd be shocked if you didn't at this rate. I mean, something I noticed pretty. It was something I noticed last year when you guys put out Morbidity Triumphant, that, like, even though there hadn't been, like, a full-blown album, per se, since, like, it looks like 2014, you guys still put out, like, a couple of EPs, you put out a split, compilations, a live album, a demo album, like, and honestly, it's all been great. Like, I would argue at this point, you guys are as consistent, like, both in terms of the quality of the music and in terms of, like, the speed of the output as maybe a band like Aborted or Cannibal Corpse, you know? Like, these guys who just put out, like, record every 2 years or so and they just knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, well, thank you. Yeah, that's what we like to do. I mean, that's why we're in a band, is so we can do stuff, you know? So if we're feeling inspired, then we're going to go for it, you know? So, yeah, that's what we do, you know? We like to go into the studio and trip around here and there and play some live stuff and, be a band. So, if we got ideas for the studio hanging out, then let's use them. There's no reason to worry about too much too soon unless it sucks, and then we won't put it out to begin with. So, yeah, man, fucking, it's fun. It's fun to be active and keep busy, do cool stuff.
Is it fair to say that, like, writing and producing an Autopsy record is a very casual, organic experience? Like, you're just kind of going with the flow and going with what feels right?
No, the opposite. We're under immense pressure to get it done on time. I mean, it's for me, it's fun. I love it. I love even the pressure and even the boring, mundane things where you're just sitting around while the engineers pushing a bunch of buttons and shit like that. Just being there, like surrounded by, studio equipment and all that. I love the whole process. It's where your crazy ideas that only live in your imagination actually turn into reality. When you write the song, you can hear it in the back of your head how it's supposed to be when it's a real thing, and then you make it into that real thing. It's fucking awesome. But relaxing? No, definitely not. Not for us, man. We're, we don't have time to like riff around and try ideas and throw things against the wall and see what sticks and all that. There's none of that. We our time is short in the studio, so we get in there. We have to be very well rehearsed. Know exactly what we're doing. And even then, we're like looking at the calendar and looking at the clock the whole time, going, "Fuck, we have only a few days to do this, and we got it. The failure is not an option." So it really pushes you to get it done. So in that way, it's not relaxing. It's fun, but it's intense at the same time. We're like holding on with both hands, white knuckle style. But we know we can do it. So it's cool. It gives us that push to not be lazy and not lollygag around and just fucking blast it out. So if it sounds urgent and like we're hell bent on a mission, it's exactly what it is. Like I always crack up. I hear bands like, "Yeah, we kicked so much ass. We got the drums done in 3 weeks or whatever." Like, fuck, man, give me a day and a half and I'm done. And then everyone else
just in and out.
Everyone else in and out. Yeah, man. There's no. I don't know. Maybe someday we'll have the luxury of time on our side, but that can make us lazy. So that probably wouldn't be for the best.
You hinted at it ever so briefly a moment ago. I just want to ask officially, is it fair to assume at your current pace that Autopsy already has something cooking for 2024?
Nah, we don't have anything cooking at all except for the thought that we want to make a new album, but that's as far as it's gone, but that's how it goes. As soon as you know that you want to do one, and then you wait for the time to start jumping on it. Like now that this album's out, and then we play a show in Atlanta, Georgia next weekend. After that, we're just going to probably take a breath for the remainder of the year, which there's not much of it left. And then we'll start brainstorming, probably after New Year's and figure out what we're going to do and when and how. But we definitely want to make a new album for sure. And then once we put our plan into place, everything happens fast. Like with this new album, I don't think we started writing till like beginning of the year, maybe at the most. I'd say maybe 3 months worth of writing total, something like that. We work pretty fast, because we know what we're doing, I dare say. So once the plan,
after like 35 years, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're still working on it, we're still hacking.
I know that Autopsy doesn't really tour often, at least not in the way that like maybe like your average band would tour. But I am interested, is there anywhere that you haven't played that you would like to in the near future? Like maybe a festival or a specific city or anything like that?
Honestly, like I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think. I mean, well, we've never been to Japan. That would be really cool to go there someday.
I'd go to an
But
Autopsy show in Japan. That sounds awesome.
oh, that would be sick. I mean, maybe someday we can do that. But I don't know. We've already done a lot of really cool stuff. So rather than think about what we haven't done, I like to think about what we have done. Because I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm sure some more cool shit's going to come up, and then I could be like, yeah, we went there and did that. So, but like, sort of like quote unquote bucket list locations or whatever. Not so much, really. I like the element of surprise, like what the hell could possibly come up next. That's more exciting to me than setting my sights on something in particular. When something falls in your lap, and you're like, oh shit, we're going to play Obscene Extreme in the Czech Republic next summer, which we are now. When shit like that happens, and it's just like, oh fuck, cool, let's do it.
I guess on that note, maybe I would like to ask then, what do you think of all the shows or all the tours or whatever that you've done? What is one of your most favorite?
There's been a lot. I mean, the first European tour in '90 was sick because it was Bull Thrower and Pestilence and us, and then Morgoth for the second half of that tour. All the bands were kind of like just sort of like bursting out, into their own, I guess. It's a pretty sick package, and then first time going to Europe is pretty noteworthy, and just the first time you go somewhere and you're hearing different languages and seeing different things and shit like that. That's pretty incredible. There's been some really awesome ones, like playing big festivals like Hellfest and Partisan is cool because it just makes me think back to when we'd play a local show and we're getting started and like 10 of our buddies would show up and we'd be like, hey, what's up? And then now we get to play for like, a crowd of like 10,000 or some shit at like Hellfest or whatever. I don't know, just anything cool and unique. A lot of things are fun that aren't even the shows themselves. Like if we get to actually go, and not that we really ever get to go sightsee, but we don't, because we don't. But we've done a couple cool like non-gig things lately while traveling. We went on a cool boat ride when we were in the Netherlands last time for Stonehenge. Just kind of cool hanging out, stuff like that. That's always fun if you get to do it.
Hell yeah. I guess that's maybe the benefit to you guys, like not really doing like full tours, is that when you do go out, it makes everything like way more special, not just for the people seeing the show, but for you guys as well, with what you experience at the show and also outside of the show.
Yeah, and like seeing old friends and shit, like that's really fun too. We played Candelabrum Fest in Mexico earlier in September, and we bumped in. It was like a family reunion, Next thing you know, we're bumping into like the Immolation guys that we've known for a billion years, and then King Fowley from Deceased crashed our fucking dressing room tent, as only King can do. And, we saw the Paradise Lost guys who we toured. We hadn't seen them since like 1990 when we toured with them in Europe.
Shit.
So stuff like that's cool, seeing like old friends and shit like that. But yeah, man, we've done some pretty fun things, and there's more on the way. And then whatever else, I have no idea.
I want to ask, how do you feel about the modern death metal scene, and do you take any influence from more recent death metal bands or albums?
Death metal's alive and well, that's for sure. I just saw fucking Cannibal Corpse a week or two ago play at this place in San Francisco called the Warfield. It's a really, really cool theater or venue. It's just to put it in context, I've seen in the past, besides a bunch of metal shows, going back to the 80s, Saxon, Accept, and, on and on and on. At that place, I've seen David Bowie, I saw the Ramones there, I saw Blondie there, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, all the shit, and then fucking next thing you know, Cannibal Corpse is headlining there,
Hell
that was
yeah.
like pretty surreal, when I heard they were playing. That's amazing. So that just sort of puts the whole thing in context, where death metal's at. It's more than alive and well, which is is pretty crazy. And the fact that I love the fact that it's not just still existing, but it's still kind of like a fresh thing. You know, it's not old people music. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh yeah, your dad likes that shit. It's not cool.
Yeah. I mean, my parents fucking hate death metal.
Oh, nice.
The heaviest thing my dad listens to is the Black Album from Metallica, and the heaviest thing my mom will listen to is like maybe like really early Judas Priest.
Okay, hey, well, there's at least that, you know. Judas Priest is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but now fucking death metal's doing great, man. There's no concern for it to dwindle and dry up and fade away anytime soon that I'm aware of. As far as taking influence from, we don't really take influence from anybody. I mean, we had our influences when we started the band, and those had a lot to do with what we turned into. But once we sort of like found our way, our sound, or whatever you want to, our style, or whatever you want to call it, we haven't deviated since then. So, you know, we're not going to like hear some new band that we like and be like, hey, we got to play like these guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so nah, man, we just kind of made our blueprint and have stuck with it, you know, but trying not to reuse old ideas or recycle them, or we're not going to hit you with Mental Funeral, the sequel, or anything like that, or, you know, we're not going to re-record our albums or anything goofy like that, you know. Just kind of continue with what we've always done, but try and keep it interesting whenever possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, shake things up a little bit, but not too much.
Yeah, I think the way I've kind of summarized it, like in videos I've done talking about you guys, is like they keep it familiar but fresh. You know, it's like a new twist on a classic recipe kind of deal every time.
Oh, cool! Yeah, throw a little extra paprika and fucking nutmeg in there once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a feast for the senses.
Here on this channel, actually, myself and some of the guys from another YouTube channel, Thralls of Metal, we talked about Autopsy in a video where we talk about the most disgusting metal albums of all time. And the Thralls guys specifically called Shitfun one of the most disgusting albums of all time because of the lyrical content and also that infamous album cover. I want to get your reaction on that, and also, like, how do you feel about the response to that album all these years later?
You know what? I'm not going to disagree. I mean, it's a gross album. On the rare occasion, if I do decide to listen, I mean, I honestly don't really listen to our records unless I have to remember how a song goes in order to play it live or something like that. But if for some reason I get the crazy mood to throw Shitfun on and listen to it, it makes me feel bad, but in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like and this is weird coming from someone that was a part of making it, but it just makes me feel like dirty, you know, and it's a disturbing ride. I mean, we were in a weird headspace when we made it, you know. We knew exactly what we were doing, you know. It was, and oddly enough, we actually, you can't tell by listening, but we actually really had a lot of fun making that record. What I can remember of it, we were partying pretty hard. Believe it or not, I hate to disappoint you, but it was a wild one. But it's a very, I like to tell people after I'm done listening to it, if I listen to it, I feel like I got to take my brain out of my head, like scrub it down with steel wool or something before putting it back.
Put it in the dishwasher for half an hour or so.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, at least maybe the long overnight cycle. Well, when it came out, it didn't really go over at all. It just got sort of like swept away, and not just because the cover was gross or anything. Not sure that was part of it, but that was when Peaceville had sold themselves to Music for Nations, and so all of a sudden, the people like Hammy, who we were in touch with, you know, all our relations with the label, they weren't there anymore, or they couldn't do anything anymore. You know, it's like all of a sudden there was like new management, and they wanted nothing to do with us. You know, we were like at the bottom of the list. You know, I think even before we hit them with that album. So when we hit them with that album, it was just insult to injury. You know, we were already on the, you know, here comes the pun. We were already on the shit list. You know, and then we gave them that thing to put out. So they barely put it out. It was only CD, no vinyl, no nothing. They wouldn't even print the song titles on the back. They picked like 4 of the tamest ones they could find, and then put like, and many more. Like it was, we were so pissed when we saw it. They wouldn't print the lyrics. They just, you know, and then that was it. And then I couldn't even, like if I needed to call them, this was before email, like, eventually I couldn't even get the guy on the phone to talk to at the label. So it totally just was just lost, you know, and lost and forgotten before it even hit the streets. But for some reason it was kind of a sleeper, because years later people started to circle back to it for some reason. You know, I don't know what the reason was, but people started to sort of get it. It's kind of a polarizing album, and I'm sure a lot of it's to do with the cover, you know, because the music is pretty fucking brutal and heavy, you know, but there's also a lot of like really short little blasty songs on there, which probably tripped some people out, even though we've done that on the previous album and everyone fucking loves that album, so who knows. But it's the thing about that album, a lot of people can't handle it, but the people that like it really like it. You know, like there's a few people out there that just won't let up about it, you know, like Shitfun, like, you know, like, okay, I'm glad you like that album, but you like it too much. So I mean, in a cool way, but also it's like, I don't want to call it a cult classic because it's not that, but it's I don't know, man. It's just a love it or hate it or something. I don't know how many people think it's like okay. I think they're like, oh, this album's fucked up, I hate it, or this album's fucked up, I love it. Who knows, man? You gotta ask individuals, I suppose. But that's my impression so far.
I think the album cover does play a role, because like people very much like, I mean, people are like, oh, don't judge a book by its cover, but people do that all the time, whether they're willing to admit it or not.
Yeah, that's okay too. You know, I mean, like I said, our job is to put something out, and then once it's out, it's out of our control. People can say or not say whatever they want, you know, and get on the internet and comment boards and all that shit, and just say whatever the fuck they want, because you know they're going to. So, you know, it's all good.
Oh, Lord knows people do whatever they want on the internet. I got way too many people being stupid on the internet.
Oh, yeah, that's what it's there for. I've come to the conclusion.
Pretty much, honestly.
You know? Yeah, I mean, I sometimes wonder if, like, someone was to take 10 minutes and think if they should really say or post that thing before they do it, if it would make a difference. But, no one does that shit. They just fucking go for it and go on to the next thing. So, you know, God bless them.
I've definitely, like, as I've gotten older, I'm like contemplating more and more like what I put online, where I'm like, maybe I don't need to put that, or maybe I could have changed that, or maybe I could have worded that better. But I guess it's different when you're like, I mean, we have a generation now that's like being raised on so much technology, so I guess it's a little different. And there's also like even older people who like are kind of figuring out the tech and don't always understand that like once it's on the internet, it's there forever.
Oh yeah, everything's a screenshot away, or a, you know, copy and paste away from forever. So once even if it's up there for 10 seconds, it's, you know, it's too late. So yeah, that is the fact of it.
You have another band, Static Abyss, and you released a debut album with them earlier this year. What I loved about that album is how it went into such like dark and atmospheric and doomy territory. Like it kind of felt like the dark, shadowy brother to like a lot of what you do with Autopsy. So I want to ask, are there plans for Static Abyss to continue, put out another album in the future?
You know what? That is actually our second album. We actually had one come out last year, which was our first one. That was on Peaceville also.
My apologies. Yes, I had briefly forgotten about that.
I'm here to educate and inform. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of up to Greg because he's the guy behind it. You know, he wrote all those riffs, and I sort of followed his lead and figure out what to do with them on drums and later vocals. But all the music is his idea. So it's really like with the first two, it was just a matter of him going, "Hey man, you want to do this?" And I said, "Yeah, let's do it." So if and when, and knowing Greg, because he's an unstoppable machine, I'm sure there'll come a day when things are peaceful for a moment, and he'll say, "Hey, want to do another one?" And if he does, I'm sure I'll say, "Yeah, let's go for it." It's super fun. No rehearsal required, which is unique and fun and interesting. I've never worked like that before. So just, if he wants to do it, we can go do it and bang it out. And I hope so. I mean, I really like doing the last couple.
Mm-hmm. No, honestly, like the one from, the name is escaping me at the moment. I had it open like a second ago too. But the one from this year, Aborted from Reality, yeah, like
Aborted from Reality.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I remember, like, I went out of my way to tell people, like, guys, check this out. Like, it's really, really cool.
Oh, right on, man. Glad you liked it. Thank you.
And I got one more question for you, and then I got to get going myself. As of this year, Autopsy has been around for 38 years, nearly 4 decades. What do you think is next for the band, and how long do you think Autopsy can keep going?
Well, let's see. I got to do some math. I think it's 1987, so 36 years. Close. Yeah, man. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what the future holds. I mean, right now we feel like we're like top of our game somehow, so we don't feel like we're slowing down or feeling labored or forced to do something we don't want to do or anything like that. So, I mean, I can only say if you see us doing anything, whether it's playing a show somewhere or making some type of recording, is just because we want to do it. There's no other reason. No one's forcing us against our will. So, and we'll definitely never do anything half-assed. Like if we feel like we can't play as good live as we used to, or we can't make as good as records as we used to, we just won't do it. So there's no point in stepping backwards. So as of now, man, we're like full steam ahead, and we've got shows planned for next year, and we definitely intend on making a new record. So right now, there's no end in sight. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but we're chugging along right now at a pretty solid rate.
I mean, why not? You guys, I mean, again, you guys have consistently put out great stuff, and there are plenty of bands in like death metal and extreme music that they just keep cranking out good stuff. I mean, Cannibal Corpse again, At the Gates, Napalm Death, like Immolation still sounds great, Dying Fetus, Cryptopsy, like it's pretty great.
Yeah, the list goes on, man. It's been a good year, honestly, for new releases and stuff. Stuff like that. It's been a lot of fun. I've been scooping all the ones up from all my favorites, and I mean, just in this year we've had like new stuff from like Cannibal, like you said. I just got the new Seraph Ungol. We got Voivod, Overkill, Raven, Alice Cooper, one of my all-time favorites. All sorts of cool shit going on this year. It's been a lot of fun. Oh, new Incantation is sick. All kinds of good shit going on. It's great.
Mm-hmm. No, it's great to see like metal and like hard rock and heavy music. It's still like it's definitely diminished a little bit in popularity, but like the scene itself it's still so hungry for just killer tunes and killer riffs.
Oh yeah, I mean you got to have it, man, for sure.
Well, Chris, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I unfortunately have to go. I had to delay going to work because it's like later in the day here in Toronto, so I'm gonna have to be on my way.
Gotcha.
It was a pleasure speaking to you. Is there anything you want to say to the Metal Meltdown audience before I let you go?
Just, the usual thank you so much. Cheers. And thanks for listening to what we're doing. We'll do more of it. And thanks a whole bunch. We really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Right Right on, man. Well, cool. I'll let you get to what you're doing, and I appreciate your time.
Hell yeah. Thank you very much again.
I told ya I interviewed Chris. Pretty cool, eh? Anyways, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the Metal Meltdown if you have not done that already. Check us out on Discord if you have not done so already. Pick up some merch on Redbubble, and as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.